Listen, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we are live and we are on the air. Raw goes off. And of course, the Squared Circle Digest, Big O Radio Show YouTube channel. And we are here live talking some Raw and WrestleMania night 1 and 2. I thought the Raw tonight was a little ill-tempered, a little light-tempered compared to what we saw from WrestleMania. I thought this would be a lot rowdier of a crowd. Hey, Steve, what's up? I love WrestleMania. Exceeded my expectations. I know it was silly, but I love the Knoxville match, especially. Oh, no. Listen, I think I didn't know what to expect with the Johnny Knoxville match. I knew they were going to get a lot of the jackass people involved. But Sami Zayn, I mean, WWE should just give that man a tremendous raise because he was there for every spot, every stupid spot that was there. And it was a very entertaining match. I tweeted out, I said, this is either going to be very entertaining or it's going to be very bad. There was going to be no in between in that match. It was either going to be entertaining or very bad. And it was very, very entertaining. And that was a pleasant surprise, I have to admit there. Yeah, I mean, the big hand, Wee Man coming out and body slamming them. And today now there's all the memes going around now of Andre and Hogan, and now it's Wee Man. And they put the voice of, I believe it was Gorilla Monsoon. And it's like the immovable force meets the irresistible force meets the immovable object. And it's Wee Man slamming Sami Zayn. But just a lot of things that happened. Not only that match, man, and I agree with you, Stone Cold on both nights. You got The Undertaker on both nights. You got Triple H on Sunday. I think the WrestleMania, again, this is, last year's was the first one back in front of live crowd, still getting their feet wet. And this one really, really delivered, I thought, as far as, WrestleMania go. The main event match, I thought with the buildup, I'm not sure what happened. I have been trying to see if maybe there's an injury there. I know Roman looks like he kind of pops his shoulder back in at the end. I don't know if that was the reason it kind of looked flat, the way that match ended, kind of, looked a little flat there, and the crowd by then too was exhausted. I mean, that Pat McAfee match right before that, I think the original order had the Sheamus match right before the main event. I think they would have been better off keeping that, putting McAfee and Austin Theory up one match because the crowd was just exhausted with everything that went on in that match. You got Pat McAfee just doing exactly what I thought he would do as far as athleticism and working with Austin Theory. Then Vince McMahon gets in the ring again and ends up beating McAfee, and then Stone Cold comes out for the save. And then, he comes out and he stuns probably one of the greatest sells I've seen on a stunner since The Rock, when Austin Theory gets stunned and kicking his feet in the air. And then, of course, you saw the worst person ever to take a Stone Cold stunner in Vince McMahon. You think by now he would know how to take a stunner. Still can't make it happen. And then, of course, at the end there, drinking beer with Pat McAfee, and then he stuns McAfee. And man, I mean, it was a fun 2 nights, and I do, like I said a minute ago, I thought the main event finish fell flat. I thought it was a great hard hitting main event. I just thought the the finish fell a little flat there. You saw on Raw tonight, Cody opened up Raw, and again he came out very emotional promo that he cut there, and just he's back to win the WWE Heavyweight Champion. That's ultimately everything that he's wanted to do, whether it's part of the angle they're running or everything else. Everything is geared up for him making a run at the heavyweight title. My question is this: USA Network or NBC Universal and Fox each won a champion. Is Roman going to defend the title, the undisputed title, on both shows? If not, it's a quick way to kind of, you have a tournament or whatever, and Cody can kind of fulfill those that pretty quickly there. If you keep it on Roman, I don't know that Cody beats Roman. I don't know where you go from here with everything that Roman has done and the way you've built up Roman. I do not see, at least in my eyes, Cody should not beat Roman with everything that you've invested in Roman thus far. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. You saw at the end, Seth Rollins comes out, kind of the handshake, the respect, says welcome home, and then kind of leaves the ring there. One of the things I thought it was interesting to see how they, incorporated Dusty into the promo. The fact, the picture, and that he was going to make the Rhodes name, and then I know Bully Ray on Bustin' Open Radio said, Cody will look to make the Rhodes name synonymous with the WWE World Title, and I think ultimately that's where they're going to get. I just don't know how they're going to work that with the head of steam that Roman Reigns and the Bloodline have right now. I don't know how you derail that if you keep it just the undisputed title. Now, if you roll it back out and you have another heavyweight title, then maybe possibly at some point you will get the opportunity for Cody to kind of fulfill that on Raw. You saw, wasn't crazy about the handshake. I like heat generating animosity. Yeah, but I think ultimately what they're going to end up doing with Seth is, when you're looking at Raw right now, let's see, heels, you've got Edge and Damian Priest right now. You've got Alpha Academy. You got Omos now with MVP turning on Bobby Lashley tonight. I think you're pretty set on heels. And KO. I don't know that you have enough faces, man. I mean, and again, Seth's kind of that character where he can be either one, right? He's kind of in the gray area right now. He's just all out there with the character he's doing right now. So ultimately, he could kind of be heel or face. So I don't know, again, maybe they're trying to do that subtle turn to where, you don't know whether Seth's going to be a face or a heel. You keep him in that gray area. And I think that's kind of what was being done there. Kind of, he came out, showed the respect to Cody, and went from there. I did not like the entrance that they did for Cody tonight. I thought it was kind of weird. And again, I don't know if maybe it was a mistake, the way they cut the camera back over, and the box, Cody's kind of already, the box is not tall enough to cover all of Cody. So when it pans back over to him, you see his face and he's just standing there, and then it starts rising up. Again, I mean, I know they're not doing the stage entrances anymore, but maybe you bring that back, or you have him off to the side and you do some entrance for him, kind of like what you used to do when Aleister Black was there and he kind of rose up on the side. Maybe you do that over on the side for Cody in his entrance, because it's gotta come out better than the presentation was today. I thought it was great at WrestleMania, the way he rose up from the floor. But today they pan back over and you already see his head sticking out of the stage, and then he rises above. And ultimately, again, just small, probably nitpicking there a little bit, but it's just the presentation. And you kind of saw that at WrestleMania. The presentation of Cody would look so much different and so much better than what the presentation of Cody at AEW. And I get it. WWE's got a lot better production than what AEW has, but it looked bigger. Everything looks bigger in WWE. I mean, the stage was a 50-yard stage that they had that they walked down to get to the ring. Um, it went out toward the 50-yard line. So, they had a long walk. Everything looks just so much bigger when you get on that main stage. And that's the one thing that I think WWE has over AEW. And it's one of the things that, if you remember back to when ECW was running, Paul Heyman always said, you can't compete with the production of WWE. So you accentuate the positives and you hide the negatives, which is why they did the darker, arenas and things like that, because they didn't have that type of lighting. And you're seeing that a little bit more as AEW now they're getting the larger arenas. You're gonna have to see how this works out with them because they are taking steps up gradually in larger arenas. We'll have to see how they fill them out. I know if you watch and you see, online, of course, everybody's always got to show, the empty seats and everything like that. So, but ultimately, again, WrestleMania weekend to me, I mean, I thought it was a success from night one to night two. Hey, Frankie Fresco, what's up, my man? Let me know what you guys thought as far as what was your favorite match from WrestleMania. Either way, night one, night two, whatever it is. What was funny to me was I thought night one was more entertaining than night two, even though night two to me had the better card on paper. I thought to me, maybe because of the expectations I had for night one, which I really wasn't like, I was like, yeah, okay, there's some matches I'd like to watch. But to me, night one kind of got me ready for night two in a way. And I thought night two, some matches just didn't live up to everything. And again, I put some high expectations on a couple of those matches. I thought the New Day match, I mean, look, if you're only going to give them 2 minutes, just put them on the damn kickoff show. I mean, there's no need to put them out there for 2 minutes to lose to Ridge Holland and Sheamus. I mean, at that point, just you bump them from night one, you put them in a night two for a 2-minute match, just put them on the damn kickoff show. You had 2 hours of kickoff shows. You show Ezekiel Elliott and every other damn cowboy. You couldn't have put them out there. Um, yeah, no, I like that match honestly, and they kind of got me on the finish of the two women's championship matches. I thought Ronda, if she was sticking around, would win. And again, I don't know if she's not sticking around. I haven't heard either way, but it was odd to me that with everything that was going on with Becky, that she dropped the belt after she got her haircut. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the haircut. It was there. They had a fantastic match. Don't get me wrong. I just thought that the story would go more because to me, Bianca cuts her hair on Monday Night Raw. Then she beats her clean on WrestleMania. There's nothing else left. I mean, you saw Bianca's eye today. She probably got an orbital bone. She took a boot. Becky did the flip, and the boot actually hit her in the eye during the match. I saw that one, and I was like, ooh. And during the match, you couldn't really tell. What I'm saying, you could tell Bianca was like flexing her eyes every once in a while. But tonight she took off the glasses and whew, nice little shiner there. Frankie Fresco, Cody versus Rollins, and the Charlotte match and the Lynch match. Yeah, I mean, Cody versus Rollins, I thought was very good, man, very good. Again, for having not much, actually no build up really, because Rollins didn't know who the opponent was, although all the fans were clamored and was hoping it was Cody. It really wasn't there, and they told a great story. I thought just the two of them, just going back and forth, the false finishes, just the brutality of their match. Not that it was brutality like Roman and Brock and all that, but there it was a pretty physical match for both of them there, and for Cody to make his debut at WrestleMania and go for a good. It was probably a good 15 to 17-minute match. I thought it was good. Ron and Charlotte, Steve, I know, and look, they delivered. They delivered. That match there delivered. I just, again, my whole thing was that at some point Where do you go with Ronda now if she stays? And again, I haven't read anything that says she's staying, and I haven't read anything that she's not staying. I read a bunch of rumors that she was upset about not main eventing and everything else, which was a bunch of garbage to get some clicks and things like that. But I don't know where you go with that after that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you're right, they had little Nate in there as the referee, and they did the spot. Again, the ref bump, which is what he's synonymous for, doing the Ric Flair matches and all that too. So. Um, I mean, the referees did very well. I thought a lot of them were involved in the matches and did very well. Rick Boogs, blew out his knee, which was terrible. Everything said the Usos were supposed to win the match. It was supposed to go a little bit differently and a little bit longer, but it changed a little bit there. Frankie a little disappointed between AJ and Edge. I just thought the finish again was another one of those that um, I get that you're going to try to build up this group with Edge and kind of make like the Brood 2022 with Edge, and I like that. But again, WrestleMania to me, it would have been better if you just would have done that tonight. What they did tonight by jumping AJ, if you would have just done that tonight instead of and let them have a great match, and maybe AJ wins with a roll up, Edge gets upset, comes out tonight, does the promo, and then you have Damian Priest hit. I just thought it was weird. He goes to do the elbow outside, and all of a sudden he looks to the side, and there's Damian Priest just looking at him. It's just out of nowhere. It's kind of like, okay, what are we doing here? Yes, and the nip flip from Charlotte. Yes, that has been documented and then some. Did McAfee surprise you guys, or did you guys think that McAfee was going to be able to perform like he did? It's such a tired angle and knocked out referee. I've been seeing that since the 70s, but it worked well in this match. Yeah, no, I mean, again, that's it's so funny, like because again, I wrestled on the independent circuit, and it used to be we just called it the dusty finish. Honestly, that's what we called it, the dusty finish. When the ref gets bumped, it was called the Dusty Rhodes finish. The Dusty finish is what we called it, just because it was always, if you watch Dusty's matches, most of the time it was, the ref gets knocked down, then all of a sudden he gets hit, and then, either he gets bloodied up at that point or he got pinned, the heel always pulled it out. And it's one of those things. It was just something that, again, the refs are there to be a part of the match. You have to work them in there, and and it's your job as the talent to work around the referee. When you're cheating, the ref, you can't just the ref just can't sit there and watch you cheat. You have to work around the referee and kind of the crowd knows what's going on, so you have to make sure that the ref looks kind of dumb. And it's it's the ref's job. He's got to be the stooge of the match and things like that. If you work it out well, then and again, like you just said, Charles Robinson, he was there right at the right time, took a great bump and stayed down and missed the tap by Charlotte. And then of course, the rest is history. Ronda goes over to check out the ref after she got up. She gets booted in the face. Quick 1, 2, 3, and Charlotte keeps the title. Pat did a great job. I expect him to deliver. Who I was impressed by? Logan Paul again. I watched some of the footage, and again, you can edit the footage and be all his highlights and everything else there. But when you see a celebrity go up to the top rope, even in training, if he's got the confidence to go up to the top rope and you see him doing moves from there, and it showed me just in that little clip that, okay, he's got confidence there, and the guys have confidence in him to allow him to go up there, because they're just not going to throw him up on the top rope and allow him to do moves until he's got the basics down. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, he's gonna be pretty good. My daughter got very upset that they let Logan Paul do the Eddie Guerrero stuff. What's your guys' take on that? Were you upset that he did the Eddie all that stuff there with the the Eddie Guerrero, shoulder shrug, and then he did, the Three Amigos, and then the frog splash. Were you guys as upset as she was? She was texting me. I was like, "What is that?" And I just thought it was kind of funny the way it went down. Can we really send it? Yeah, yeah. And Charlotte went through Charles too, so I thought that was one other thing. Uh, yeah, the Jackass guys were. I thought, again, I think Sami Zayn, made that match what it was because he took all the moves. He took everything. Um, Wee Man, a body slam. He took a body slam from Wee Man. He took, the fire extinguisher, the mouse traps. He took the slap, the big face palm, the palm, and everything there. Um, Not at all paying homage to Eddie. Yeah, no, I mean, yes, yeah, I mean, and then also Dominic paid homage to Eddie coming out in the gear that he came out into. Eddie Guerrero came out in a WCW match. Let's see. Didn't care for Lesnar Reigns match. No, I didn't. I don't think it did not deliver. It delivered in brutality, but the finish, I'm not sure. It fell flat to me. I don't know. Again, I don't know if there was an injury or something there. It just did not look to me like that was supposed to go down the way it went down. It was like kind of like, and then you saw Reigns and you saw it again today where he kind of like he pops his shoulder back in after the match. So, when the Kimura got hooked, maybe it popped the shoulder out or something. But again, that's what happens, man, when you're in those brutal matches. You get dinged up. I did think it was a little cheesy, some of the entrances. Which entrances did you think were cheesy? I guarantee you're gonna say Bianca Belair, probably, right? With the marching band. I think all the entrances delivered it. Even Drew McIntyre actually canceled his entrance. He was supposed to have I'm guessing it was a bunch of the bagpipe players kind of play him to the ring, and they did not. He canceled it. I knew you were going to say Bianca. I knew you were going to say Bianca. That's the one I've been hearing a lot about. But again, it's one of those things where it's an HBCU, and they do that almost every year. You're going to get some kind of one of the state marching bands there to perform. Um, there were two cars that they didn't end up using. There were two cars that they didn't use back there. They ended up using Bianca, or no, sorry, Bianca. Sasha used the one, and then of course the ATV by. But there was a actually no, you know what? They did use it because Becky came out in the Rolls Royce, the SUV. So yeah, no, I guess they did. They ended up using all the vehicles that are back because somebody took a picture from the crowd and you could see the cars covered up and the ATV there. And so, but yeah, they end up using all of them. Yeah, yeah. But it's WrestleMania, man. It's one of those things where you're going to get those entrances. I mean, I thought the ones when they did down here in Orlando, like Ric Flair, his last match, and then they redid it with Charlotte when she wrestled in Orlando too. But when he walked out, and then it's like almost sunset, and then he opens up the robe, and then all the fireworks behind him, all the pyro, it just, man, so good. WWE running out of challenges for Roman, getting kind of boring with one man dominating for 2 years. I mean, but when he's the guy, who else is there right now, Tony? I'll ask you, Tony. Who would you, if it's not Roman, then who? Because right now, I don't think there's anybody in WWE right now that could be doing what they're doing using Roman. There's just nobody there. And that's what happens, though. And it's one of the things I think that WWE falls into that trap a lot is that, they push that one guy and then they kind of spotlight that guy. And then you'll bring in your Goldbergs, your Lesners, Cena was that guy for a while, right? There's always that one guy that kind of gets pushed to the moon. And again, it's also them taking it and running with it. Roman's done everything, right with that character since he's turned heel. That character's been gold for WWE. And the fact that it's making money and the bloodline's making money on top of that without him having to be the baby face. I mean, again, Roman Reigns is one of the top sellers in when Cena was there. So it's one of those things where I just don't know what they can do on with what they have right now. There's nobody else there that can carry WWE the way Roman Reigns is carrying it right now. Frankie says, you know what would have been amazing ending after Roman wins the lights shut down. It comes out the end with the Fiend start running. I mean, at this point, I don't know that. Again, it's one of those things where I don't even think the Fiend, to me, the Fiend is not there. I mean, when the Fiend lost to Randy Orton, right? It was Orton, right? When Alexa Bliss turned on him that was last year's WrestleMania, I believe, actually. When that character lost that match, there was no coming back from that. I also like that they're making the pay-per-views affordable, streaming on Peacock for $5. It's a breath of fresh air from the. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, but the one thing is too, Steve, is the ones that are charging like the $49, it's every 3 months. And again, I agree with you. The Peacock is a lot better. You get it for the $4.99 or the $9.99, depending on either one of the Peacocks that you have for there. But it's definitely more affordable. But also, the downfall to that is you get the product that you see on TV because they don't have to get you to purchase the pay-per-view. They don't have to sell you on a pay-per-view because you're going to watch it anyways because it's only $5. So that's led to a lot of the reason you see a lot of the crap you see on Raw. I mean, tonight on Raw was a lot of just rematches from the damn WrestleMania. You had the tag team champions go against Liv and Rhea Ripley, who was a part of the four women tag the other night. You've had you had RK Bro take on they took on a minute. Frankie said, do you think they are going to try to bring back The Rock? Yeah, I think ultimately, you bring back The Rock. I think that's who ends Roman, or you would make it just solidify Roman at that point. I mean, if Roman still has the title and you're going that route and bringing The Rock in at that point, Roman would be almost untouchable at that point. And then if he does beat The Rock, I don't know where you go from there. That's the one thing that I will agree with Tony on about the one man dominating for 2 years is the fact that now that you've had him doing all this and dominating for 2 years, who's the guy you're bringing up? Is it the Gable Steveson guy? Is it Braun Breaker, who you're going to bring up from NXT, even though he won the NXT title tonight? Who's going to be that person that can slow down Roman? And then when that does happen, what do you do with Roman at that point? Where does Roman go? Because right now, the only thing that can slow down Roman, knock on wood, would be an injury right now. Steve says, I'm sure you'll have more people buying because it's affordable. That's why I did. I know I'm not alone. Oh, no, 100%. People are buying it, and their numbers are probably great because, again, I mean, Peacock wouldn't have spent the money they spent. NBC Universal would not have spent that money. You could have the Uso twins turn on them, but who do they turn on them to go with who? I mean, again, it's and again, look, there might be somebody they already have. I've heard they want to push the Gable Steveson kid and the and Braun Breaker. I've heard both of them. They want to bring to Raw and push them big time. So maybe one of those guys are the guys. But again, as you know, Tony pointed out there, it's been a 2-year run for Roman Reigns. 2 years. And the fact that he beat, Lesnar clean at WrestleMania, I just, dude, you got so much steam in that engine right now. The Stevenson kid looks undersized. Yeah, he's got to put on he you know what it is he's got the wrestling build for freestyle wrestling. He's going to have to get in the gym and kind of, they'll probably have him work, the off days down at the performance center and kind of get more into the cut, work on some weights and things like that to, get a little bit more bigger looking for camera because he's big, but it's I don't want to say flabby because that's not right because he's in shape, but he's not like, he's not muscular as far as he's more freestyle wrestling, the weight distribution and things like that for him. I mean, he'll be all right. It's just he's got to get cut into a pro wrestler's body from a freestyle wrestler's body. It's one of the things Kurt Angle, when he first got there, he had to put on a little bit more, size, which he did while he was in WWE or WWF at that time. Did you notice Paul Heyman said we're up 58% from last year? Whether or not that's true, who knows? Yeah, no, I mean, look, I mean, WWE and everybody's like, AEW is better than WWE, and maybe, probably some of the, depending if you're tired of what you see on WWE and you're tired of being forced to fed, Roman Reigns, if you're tired of being forced, whatever, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, those guys, AEW's a breath of fresh air and they got the buzz. They had the buzz. But the thing is, all the eyes are pointing toward WWE. And I get it. SmackDown is on as I always say, SmackDown's on Fox. I don't go by that. But Raw has been beating AEW Dynamite, USA, and TBS. They have been beating them consistently by, 500,000. It's been like 1.5, 1.6 for Raw weekly. And, Dynamite's been 990 to a million. So that's what you're looking at the difference right now. So, WWE's definitely, and again, for $5, or $5.99, $4.99 or whatever, you get the whole damn WWE library. Every pay-per-view, the Monday Night Wars, WCW, World Class Championship Wrestling. There's some stuff from Championship Wrestling from Florida, I believe, on there as well. They've got so many different libraries there that, hell, for $4.99, why would you not? Why would you not pay that and just have it? And especially Peacock's got other stuff too as well. I mean, it's not just necessarily for WWE Network, but it helps out that, they're the only star that can go after Roman is either Randy or Edge. It'd be interesting to see what they do with Edge here. If there's talk, there's two other names that are, and I think they started the one tonight watching Raw. Rhea Ripley is a name that has been mentioned to join Damian Priest. I know she's good friends with Damian. They hang out off camera and things like that. But she's been rumored there. And then also Tommaso Ciampa is another name that's kind of been to be brought up to the main roster. So that'd be interesting to see if they do that. If they do that and you have that group feuding with the Bloodline, that could get interesting. And then at that point, you could have people, again, Edge cheating and beating Roman, and then Roman chasing the title. You can run a couple different things. That way I can see maybe Roman dropping the title. I don't see anybody dropping there. Tony says, Sean, do you think Drew McIntyre will get another run with the title? I do. I do believe that he'll get a run with the title. And honestly, I know they just did the unified title, but I don't think the title's staying unified. And I don't know if they're going to have Roman go show to show, but I think ultimately you're going to see another title. And I don't know what it's going to be called. Maybe they make Roman the WWE champion, and then they have another tournament or whatever you want to do for the Universal title. But I could see, Drew definitely getting another run with the title. Does he beat Roman? I don't know about that yet. We'll have to see how they build it. I'm just happy that the shit Corbin's over. That was just, I was tired of that, man. I was just tired of that angle and everything there. Um, they need to boost him up a little bit more. Um, but again, they did it right. He lost the title, and then he's kind of laid low. They're not forcing him on everybody. They did a couple angles with them against others to keep him strong and relevant. And then now you start building back up, again, because Roman's going to need, he's going to need some challengers now. Whether at this point they put the title on Drew, I doubt that, but I guarantee he'll get some title matches here coming up at a couple pay-per-views because they'll start building him up now. Lashley now with the MVP Omos thing, I think they start building up Lashley as well, but I think right now he'll feud with Omos and MVP for a little bit. Maybe MVP gets the Hurt Business back together with Shelton, Cedric, Omos, and maybe they bring somebody else back in. Is it too early for Cody to challenge for any belt? Look, I think the only belt that he can go after is going to be the heavyweight title. He said that's his, everything that they've said has been he wants to be the championship for his family, for the lineage. He wanted to be able to present it to Dusty, to his father. He's not going to be able to do that now, physically, but he will do it by putting it around his waist. And that was the heavyweight championship. So I think it would kind of go against that whole storyline that you're trying to do for Cody if you put another belt on him. And honestly, I mean, with what they're doing with the titles now, Ricochet with the Intercontinental title, Finn's got the U.S. title, but he gets beat every damn week. Ricochet gets beat every other week. I hope they don't put another belt on him. Just let him, stay strong, have him, with Seth Rollins and things like that, keep him up there in that level of competition. And then, when the time's right, put the belt on him. I think it's too early right now. I think right now you just keep doing with the Seth Rollins. Let me think some other people. I mean, even right now, you could probably throw, Corbin with him there, KO, some of those guys right now to work with Cody and keep that that momentum going that he's got. It's never too early. Hulk Hogan was only back for a few weeks when he beat Iron Sheik. Yeah, but that was already planned. That was Hogan. That was Vince McMahon saying, again, that was when Vince was stealing everybody's from the thing. And I love Iron Sheik's story. I mean, Vern Gagne called him and told him, I'll give you $100,000 if you go in there and you break Hulk Hogan's leg. Because Hogan left the AWA. Hogan was supposed to be the AWA champion. And Vince played out the game plan of him being, the WWF champion. And then the whole WrestleMania and all that was a vision. And Vince was slowly buying up the territories, which he told his dad he wouldn't do. And he went and he did it. And so he was only there for a few weeks, but it was something that was set in action long before, because that's why Backlund dropped the title to the Iron Sheik to ultimately have Hulk Hogan debut in Madison Square Garden and beat him, the Eye of the Tiger. And the rest, shall we say, is history. Seth did a great job talking crap during that Cody fight. Yeah, I loved it. I loved when he said, "Welcome back to the big leagues, bitch." That was fantastic. That was good stuff right there. I think, again, man, for people to get, AEW fans like, oh, I can't believe Cody went back and this and that. Man, dude, there's everybody if you're a wrestler, you want to wrestle at WrestleMania. That's everybody's goal, almost. There's only one person who I know that his goal was not really to get, ultimately his goal was to get the WWE, but his real dream was to get to Japan. And that was MVP. When he wrestled down here, his whole thing was he wanted to wrestle in Japan. He actually went to WWE to get to Japan. Usually it's the other way around. And then now he's back with the company. But I mean, um, you know, yeah, no, Drew carried the company. And that's also why I think they did right by him by once he lost the title, kind of dropping him out of the title picture. And a couple, again, and I think they dragged out the Happy Corbin one a little bit too long, but Drew was the main focus on there because, again, uh, due to Roman's condition, he wasn't able to be there for a lot of the pandemic. So it was Drew and it was Bobby Lashley, really the legwork for the Raw side. And they did a tremendous job. And then subsequently, which is why I think they did what they did with Lashley losing the title to Brock and dropping him back down, because again, they were being fed to you, they're being forced to you, because they were the two big guys of the company at that point. So again, it started becoming the Cena stuff, right? Every week it's Drew, every week it's Lashley, every week it's Drew, every week it's Lashley. Now you drop them down, keep them relevant, but they're not just being forced to you. And now ultimately it's going to be there. Let's see here. Do you think AEW took a hit because Cody came back to WWE? No, but I think, there's a now for the first time somebody has left AEW and went to WWE instead of leaving WWE and going to AEW. That, again, and it's one of the guys that helped found, that's kind of the bigger story. But again, as Cody said, I honestly think, well, it came down to money, man. I don't think he was going to make that money at AEW right now that WWE can offer. And especially if Vince wanted to get somebody from AEW over there, I'm sure he gave him a great deal of money just to say that, oh, we got somebody from AEW to jump to WWE. Good stuff, Sean. Time to hit the sack. All right, my man. Steve, we will be talking Dolphins tomorrow. We'll go for a couple more minutes here, and then don't forget tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. It will be the Big O Show. We'll be discussing a whole lot of sports stuff. The national championship game just ended. The Kansas Jayhawks, they are your champions of college basketball. And there, of course, is the commercial where the Kansas Jayhawks just won, and you can already get the gear. I love that stuff. I love that stuff. Let's see here. Anything else I wanted to get to here before I end the show? I am interested in one other thing, real quick, before we go. The Miz turning on Logan Paul. Do they bring Logan Paul back in? And will it be, Miz against Logan Paul at some point? When the music hit tonight and it was Veer finally showed up, by the way. Anybody that's been watching the vignettes, Veer's been coming since, I think, October of last year. And he finally showed up tonight and he attacked the Mysterios. But at first I thought that was Logan Paul. When they showed it down, it was all the yellow gear. I thought he was coming out to confront Miz. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the Miz from here out, and also with Logan Paul, because it kind of weird to me that you're going to, turn on him and not set anything up. But ultimately, that's one of the other things I would love to see. And as I already covered, the Drew McAfee, to me, was one of the highlights. Frankie says, I think Logan should get a contract and become a full-time WWE wrestler. Again, that's if he wants it, man. That's if he wants that. I'm sure he makes some good money, boxing and less. Again, these guys, when they sign those contracts, man, you're on the road 250, 300 days a year. You're not being able to call your shots and go wherever. You're doing, radio press. You're doing, you're under contract to WWE unless you work out a special deal, which again, maybe they work out some kind of deal with him. But then, the one thing that WWE does right by a lot of guys is usually you don't get those deals unless you're the Brock Lesnar's, the Goldbergs, those guys get these special, 6 appearances a year. You promote the pay-per-views before they go. But I don't know. They might. I just don't know that Logan's that much of a draw as far as putting asses in the seats to guarantee you that kind of contract. And again, I know everybody hates Goldberg, but people tune in to watch him. Every time he's on, everybody's like, "Oh God, here they go! They bring back Goldberg." But as soon as you bring back Goldberg, the TVs click on, and same thing with Lesnar. Everybody watches it. It's amazing to me because you look at again, I know it's wrestling Twitter and all that stuff, but everybody's always like, "Oh, here we go with this again. Here we go with this again." But then when you watch the shows, all the damn ratings are through the roof for those. Sean, I think Lashley should get another run because, yeah, no, I mean, ultimately, I think, look, you're gonna have to have somebody go with Reigns right now for a while. I just don't know how you take the title off of Reigns and not stop all the momentum you've built up for the 2 years up to this point. That's the only thing I'm having a hard time trying to, understand on anybody on the roster right now that you're watching, how you put them in the title picture and ultimately get the title off of Roman with the way Roman has been steamrolling for the last 2 years, and make it, I guess, make sense to where it doesn't hurt Roman. And, and again, maybe it's the edge angle that, was brought up a little bit earlier. If you start getting more a group together or a faction and somebody can, kind of take out the bloodline. And then at the same time, you kind of can get one over on Roman. Maybe you slide the title off of him that way, then have him chase the title for a little bit. But I just don't know how you do it without, killing all that momentum that for the last 2 years he's been on a roll. And if you are setting up to wrestle The Rock, at WrestleMania Hollywood, this has got to keep going for another year. Because, I mean, unless maybe you bring out The Rock to cost Roman Reigns the belt, and then it's just Roman against The Rock in a match, not for a title, and then you slide the title onto somebody else. The Rock come out, rock bottom Roman Reigns, and the other person slow crawl over, lay on top of him, 1, 2, 3, and then you end up, going into whatever WrestleMania you want to, or whatever pay-per-view it is, and it's Rock and Roman, and you don't have to have a title on the line necessarily, because again, Rock and Roman could headline a WrestleMania just the way they are right now. I don't think you have to have a title be on the line for that match if that was the way they want to go. Maybe that's something that they might try to incorporate. If you start seeing, Roman, kind of bad mouthing The Rock, I could ultimately see, something there. But I just don't know how soon, if that is the angle, how soon they start building it up. You can't do like they did with Cena and Rock and work on it the whole, almost a whole year to get to the WrestleMania. I don't think you can do that in today's age, just because of injuries and everything else that's going on right now. That was able to do that because The Rock wasn't wrestling, and Roman now with the shoulder, if it was a shoulder injury, I mean, that's not something that's just going to go away. How soon will he wrestle again? That's another thing. Maybe now you work some 6-mans with the bloodline, and that way you keep Roman kind of fresh without him having to defend the title. Some things that they're gonna have to figure out, especially since you unified the title now, because both networks want a champion. You've unified a title, so Roman's gonna have to wrestle on Raw and SmackDown, or at least make appearances on both. And then at pay-per-views, what are you gonna do? A triple threat match? A person from Raw and a person from SmackDown get to take on Roman Reigns? And hey, you know what? There's another possibility. You do a triple threat match, and then Reigns doesn't have to get beat. You throw Drew, Lashley, and Reigns in a match, and McIntyre beats Lashley, or Lashley beats McIntyre. Now you've taken the belt off of him without him losing. There's another possibility. They wasn't even thinking about that end of it. with a triple threat, but they've got to make it make sense. I mean, that's going to be the thing of if you did that with a triple threat or any other way of doing that. So I want to thank everybody that's been here today. Frankie, Tony, of course, Steve. Let's see who else we got here. Stoney, thank you, Dad. Appreciate that. Number one fan there. And everybody else that joined in on the chat, man. I want to thank everybody else. If you're listening on the podcast, please make sure you click the like button, subscribe. And we got the Big O radio show weekdays from 10 to 1-ish. And then, of course, I'm on every evening after the wrestling shows. We'll not be on after NXT. It'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we'll do the pay-per-views. We'll not be on after NXT. We'll talk NXT with Dynamite when we do those shows. But I want to thank everybody. And as always, in the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the Sunshine State.